Hi friends, today we are going to talk about 5 of the greatest Japanese judokas who have forever written their names in the history of this art. In this video you will learn the amazing stories of their victories, perseverance, and overcoming difficulties. These judo legends have inspired millions of people around the world with their skills and achievements. Let's dive into their colorful sports careers together and remember how they became symbols of Japanese judo. Between October 1977 and his retirement from competition in April 1985 as a 6th degree black belt, Japanese judoka, four-time world champion and Olympic champion Yasuhiro Yamashita won 203 consecutive bouts without losing a single one. He set a record that is unrivaled to this day, making him the greatest judoka of all time. One could even say that Yasuhiro Yamashita is judo in its purest form. One of Japan's most famous sports figures, Yamashita was born on June 1, 1957 in Kumamoto Prefecture on the island of Kyushu. He began practicing judo in elementary school after being inspired by its founder, Kano Jigoro. His first instructor recalled Yamashita's first session at the dojo in these words: "Yasuhiro was a smiling, chubby young man. It was obvious that he had not experienced any of life's difficulties. Therefore, I thought it was unlikely that he would continue practicing judo for a long time." But this first impression of the instructor turned out to be wrong. Yasuhiro, with the head and for a long time immersed in judo, died so that by the time he went to high school already received a black belt, and soon earned himself a reputation as a talented judoka with a promising future. But still few expected from him that hurricane, which is about to shake the world of judo. The judo world didn't have to wait long for proof. Yamashita won his first All Japan title in 1977 at the age of 19, making him the youngest person ever to do so. After that, he became a dominant force on both the national and international stage, beginning his unprecedented streak of 203 fights without defeat, and which lasted until his retirement. During that time, the Japanese maestro won 8 more All Japan Judo Championships, as well as 4 gold medals at the World Judo Championships. While at the peak of his powers, Yamashita was nevertheless forced to skip judo competition at the 1980 Olympic Games in Moscow. His country was one of 66 nations that decided to boycott the Games in protest of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. Yamashita's only chance to compete in the Olympics finally came in Los Angeles 4 years later. Such a long wait for this moment, however, nearly spelled disaster at the end when he tore a calf muscle in his right leg while winning a preliminary bout at the Games. As the favorite, Yasuhiro struggled throughout the tournament and still limped noticeably during his win over Frenchman Laurent Del Colombo in the semifinals. But ultimately, despite the injury, the Japanese judoka was destined to win the Olympic title his illustrious career deserved. His opponent in the final at the Eagle's Nest Arena was Egypt's Mohamed Ali Rashwan. The Egyptian judoka later admitted that he was aware of Yamashita's injury and avoided attacking his opponent's right side in the final, for which he later received an award from the International Fair Play Committee in recognition of his sportsmanship at such a critical moment. In 1993, Yasuhiro Yamashita described this his 1984 Olympic victory as the realization of his childhood dream. A year after his greatest victory, at just 28 years of age, having suffered numerous injuries throughout his career, Yamashita decided to retire from competitive judo. Yasuhiro Yamashita will forever be associated with greatness. He possessed a will to win and an unparalleled skill set on the tatami. And off the tatami he was an unassuming, humble character who, while turning down lucrative offers outside of judo after his competitive career, retained his full commitment to excellence in judo, serving as a constant instructor and inspiration to the current generation of judoka around the world. Yamashita once said, "If they could see on my face what I feel in my heart, no one would ever fight me." One of the most famous, inimitable, and accomplished judoka in history is the Japanese Toshihiko Koga. His judo skills are a unique combination of explosive power and technique, so rare in this martial art. Toshihiko Koga was born in Saga Prefecture, Japan on November 21, 1967. From an early age, he was interested in martial arts, particularly judo, which he began practicing in elementary school at the age of 6, training with his older brother Motohiro and his father Toshiro. Subsequently, the two Koga brothers became famous wrestlers, but Toshihiko succeeded more. He once even defeated Motohiro at one of Japan's tournaments. Toshihiko Koga began his international career in 1985 and a year later won the World Junior Championship. In 1987, for the first time he became champion of Japan and was selected to participate in the World Senior Championships, where he won a bronze medal. Two years later, at his second adult championship in 1989, he won gold. In 1991, Toshihiko won the World Championship again. And was selected to participate in the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona, where he was the clear favorite. 44 judokas fought in his category. Right before the competition, in a training bout with Hidehiko Yoshida, he suffered a setback when he severely injured his left knee. This injury prevented Toshihiko Koga from doing his favorite Ipponseoi throw over the back with a hand on the shoulder. The Japanese judoka fought through the pain and therefore did not show the undeniable superiority over his opponents. In the first bout, Koga held a clean throw with a leg rest in the stomach. In the second, he managed to hold a snatch for both legs. In the third, he won only by the judges' preference. In the semifinal, he held a clean throw with a hand under the shoulder. In the final bout, no one was able to hold a hold. The judges gave the victory to the Japanese, which surprised many fans and experts. After the Olympic Games, stopped performing at the competitions for several years, but came back in 1994 in heavier weight up to 78 kilograms, in which, a year later, became a 3-time world champion. At the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, Koga again competed as the favorite and advanced to the finals quite confidently, showing a variety of techniques. He won the first match by throwing over the chest, the second by pinning, the third by throwing over the hip with a lapel grab, and in the semifinals he won due to the caution of his opponent. In the finals, he was in the lead all the way, but with 16 seconds to go he was cautioned for passivity, resulting in a draw, and the judges gave the victory to his opponent. Throughout his career, Toshihiko Koga has been very adept at using his trademark Ipponseoi. Toshihiko's mastery of this particular judo throw is legendary in the judo community and is considered perhaps the greatest in history. Nevertheless, on some occasions when Toshihiko faced injuries, such as injuries to his elbow in 1986 and to his knee in 1992, that prevented him from using this technique, He overcame the pain each time to find a way out of these critical situations and won competitions, which was a testament not only to his skills and dedication to judo, but also to his ability to adapt and use techniques that could compensate for his injuries. Toshihiko also defeated opponents even when the odds were against him. He made it to the finals of the 1990 Japan Judo Openweight Championship, fighting much heavier and taller opponents, and won silver. Losing only in the finals to world champion Naoya Ogawa, who was 193 centimeters tall and 115 kilograms. Toshihiko retired from competition in 2000 after winning every possible judo title, becoming a 3-time world champion and a 7-time Japanese champion. And, these days, Toshihiko Koga's legacy is continued by his sons Hayato and Janki, trying to replicate their father's success and become just as impressive judo practitioners. Japanese judoka Tadahiro Nomura, the only 3-time Olympic champion in judo history for both men and women, an absolute terror on the tatami in the under 60 kilograms category, and a judo legend in his own lifetime. Nomura was born in 1974 in Koryo, Japan, surrounded by judo, to a family with a rich sporting heritage. His grandfather ran the local judo school and his father coached 1980 for Olympic gold medalist Shinji Hosokawa. Even his uncle took home gold at the 1972 Olympics, 2 years before he was born. Born into an elite family of judo masters, Nomura undoubtedly followed the same path. When he first started walking and controlling his movements, he was already playing with friends on the tatami at his grandfather's school and soon began learning his first judo techniques. As a teenager, Nomura grew in skill and competed both nationally and internationally before he joined his father's judo team at Tenri University. In 1996, at the age of just 21, Nomura competed in the All Japan Judo Championships, where he defeated the 1993 world champion in the 60 kilograms weight class and won the division, which earned him a spot on the Japanese Olympic team. At the 1996 Olympics, few expected a high performance from Nomura, as the Atlanta Games were his first real test against the world's top players. But Nomura made an outstanding outing on the world stage, showed great class and won his first gold medal at the age of 21, defeating Italy's Girolamo Giovinazzo in the final. After winning the Olympics, Nomura did not relax. In 1997, he won the World Judo Championships, defeating Georgian judoka Georgi Revazishvili in the final. And he won the All Japan Judo Championships again. Adding these victories at major competitions to his list of accomplishments, Tadahiro became a favorite for the Sydney Olympics. Bouts up to 60 kilograms were held on the first day of judo competition. After winning 4 bouts, he faced Asian champion Bu Kyung-young of South Korea in the final. 14 seconds of the fight was enough for Tadahiro Nomura to make Nippon and win his second Olympic title in a row. After this gold medal, Tadahiro suspended his athletic career for 2 years, but his passion for judo took over. His return to top-level competition in 2003 was marked by an unexpected bronze medal at the Osaka World Championships. At which point judo fans began to wonder if age and the long hiatus had undermined Nomura's status as the best judoka at 60 kilograms. But Tadahiro was not about to give up his crown and qualified for his third Olympics the following year. In the final of the 2004 Athens Olympics, the Japanese judoka faced Georgian judoka Nestor Kurgiani. Tadahiro earned a Yuko score very quickly. Then he maintained his advantage on the scoreboard and as a result celebrated his victory for the third time, becoming the only judoka to win 3 Olympic gold medals, a feat that remains unrivaled in judo to this day. After the games, Nomura, without making any official announcement, stopped competing. Only in the next Olympic cycle did he return. But by 2007, age and repeated breaks in training had already taken a toll on Nomura, even despite his immense talent. After crashing out of the 2008 cycle, Nomura officially retired from competitive judo. A failed comeback in 2012 also went nowhere, and after a few more setbacks, Nomura finally retired. But despite this, thanks to his 3 Olympic titles and other gold and silver medals collected along the way, Tadahiro Nomura can, without exaggeration, be called the greatest judoka in the world. In Japan, where judo is more than just a sport, Kosei Inoue is an extraordinary athlete. Unbeatable between 1999 and 2003, this judo flyweight won 3 world titles and an Olympic gold medal, making him one of the greatest judokas of all time. Here's what Kosei Inoue says about judo. By practicing judo every day, it helps you win in life in general as well. After all, in judo you're always getting thrown and you always have to get up, which is a lot like life itself. Inoue, like many others in Japan, began playing the sport at a young age, training hard every day under the guidance of his father. Kosei achieved his first significant success in international competition in 1998 when he was named to the Japanese national team and competed at the Asian Games in Bangkok, where he won a gold medal. A year later, he competed at the World Championships in Birmingham, where he also defeated all his rivals and took the gold medal. Thanks to this series of successful performances, Kosei Inoue was awarded the right to defend the honor of the country at the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney and to carry the flag of Japan at the opening ceremony. At these Olympic Games, Kosei made a very impressive statement to the world by winning all of his bouts by ippon. Including defeat in the quarterfinals, a very strong judoka from Israel, Ariel Zivi, and in the final realized his famous victory over Nicholas Gill from Canada. When I won gold in Sydney in 2000, I was only 22 years old and still in university. My life had changed forever, but I was young and I felt like my career was just beginning, recalled Kosei. In the following years, the Japanese judoka did not give up and won more gold medals at the next 2 World Championships, which were held in Munich and Osaka. As well as 3 consecutive titles in the open weight class at the All Japan Championships, defeating much larger opponents. But at the next Olympic Games in Athens in 2004, he was unable to maintain his dominance and crashed out in the quarterfinals, losing to Dutchman Elko van der Geest. So many people were focused on me and I disappointed them, Inoue later reflected, unable to come to terms with the defeat. I've never experienced anything more humiliating and devastating in my life. After failing at these Olympics, Kosei Inoue remained on the main roster of Japan's national team and continued to compete in major international tournaments. However, with no significant accomplishments other than winning the 2005 Kano Cup and the 2007 World Super Cup. In 2005, he suffered a serious shoulder injury and had to miss several seasons, returning to competition only in 2007 in the heavyweight category. He tried to qualify for the Olympic Games in Beijing, but at the qualifying competition he suffered a defeat by a pawn from his teammate Yohei Takai, and because of this defeat he was forced to refuse to go to the Games. In 2008, he officially retired from judo. After the termination of his competitive career, Kosei Inoue devoted himself to coaching. He is currently the head coach of the Japanese judo team and is passing on his secrets to the next generation, proving that he is just as successful as he was during his stellar 10-year competitive career. Japanese judoka Ryoko Tani is only 146 centimeters tall, but that didn't stop her from becoming the best female judoka of all time, bursting onto the international scene at the age of 15 after winning the Fukuoka Cup over four-time world champion Karen Briggs. The Japanese star went on to dominate her weight class for 2 decades. Tani is the first woman judoka in history to compete in 5 Olympic Games and the only one to medal each time. She went a remarkable 12 years without defeat at the international level, winning every major competition she competed in from late 1996 to 2008. First stepping onto the tatami at the age of 7, Tani won her first judo title just 1 year later. In her early years, she was inspired by four-time world champion Karen Briggs of Great Britain. At the age of 15, Tani competed against her role model for the first time at the 1990 Fukuoka Cup, the first international women's judo competition held in Japan. Tani beat her idol in what was her first major victory, although a year later Briggs got her revenge in the World Championship semifinals and Ryoko had to settle for bronze. When women's judo made its first appearance at the Barcelona Olympics in 1992, 28 years after the men's competition, Tani thrilled the crowd on her way to reaching the final at the age of just 16, losing only to French world champion Cécile Novak. She continued her climb to the top, winning 2 world championships in 1993 and 1995. And by the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, she was a major favorite. Tani went to Atlanta as the top favorite, winning 84 consecutive events, but as a result, she failed to live up to expectations at the Olympics and had to settle for silver once again, this time losing in the final to a young North Korean judoka, Ki Sun-hui, who was competing in her first international tournament. But for the third time, in the final of the 2000 Sydney Olympics, she was already lucky. She defeated Lyubov Bruletova of Russia in the hippo in just 36 seconds, and finally won her first Olympic gold medal. Now that she had reached great heights, in the following years Tani beat all her competitors at all the major biennial championships for over a decade. Competing in Athens in 2004, she reached her 4th consecutive Olympic final when she defeated French judoka Frédéric Jossenet by Waza-Ari, becoming the first female judoka to retain an Olympic title. Tennis' steady success earned her many loyal fans in Japan and allowed her to become the main character in a popular Japanese comic book, and her performances in major competitions generated enormous media interest. In 2005, she gave birth to her firstborn child and 3 years later returned to the 2008 Olympic stage in Beijing, where she won bronze after losing to Romanian Alina Dumitru in the semifinals. Not content with winning 5 Olympic medals, Ryoko Tani said she would return in 2012 for the London Olympics. However, in 2010, after the birth of her second child, she announced the end of her career and went into politics, winning a seat in Japan's parliament. Tiny Japanese Ryoko Tani is a shining example that you don't have to be tall, strong, or have imposing looks to become a champion, but all it takes is determination.